An op-ed, watch it, please. Seattle's crime surge spreads statewide thanks to Democrats' progressive policies. Jason Rantz wrote that, and he joins me now. Now, okay, so you've got crime in Seattle spreading out across the state. Does that change Washington state politics?
It should. It hasn't really yet, but obviously we're heading into the midterms where there is a belief that Republicans will be able to take back either the House or the Senate. Remember, for the last couple of years, I mean, Republicans have basically had no power, which is why we saw the Democrats completely reimagine policing, but unfortunately they reimagined it to the point where we're seeing a skyrocketing surge of crime. And it's not just Seattle. And you and I, we usually talk about Seattle. Obviously, things are bad. We're getting about a little more than one homicide a week so far this year. We're trending 2.5 months ahead of where we were last year. So we're obviously not going in the right direction. But when you go into a city like Tacoma, which is south of Seattle, their homicide rate is just as bad. They've got robberies at 219 through the middle of last month. Last year at this point, it was at 83. Bellingham has seen 300% increase in car theft. Spokane is seeing similar problems. And we just had 2 cops who were murdered on the job by criminal suspects. So we're clearly heading in the wrong direction. And I hope what ends up happening is the voters start to truly understand that their votes in the past, the people they put in place, there are severe consequences.
Well, let's see. All right, I got another one for you, Jason. Palm Springs, California. Residents eligible to receive a universal basic income up to $900 a month, but there is a catch. It's not for all residents. It's only for those who identify as transgender or non-binary. Okay, what do you make of that? Jason Rantz.
Well, it's a plan that, much like the people it's supposed to help, identifies as a smart move, but it's not really a smart move. When we've seen this data for guaranteed basic income, which is basically a scheme that's been pushed by a group called Mayors for a Guaranteed Income, we've seen this push nationwide. They're basically saying we spend too much money on these social services. It would be better if we just gave the money directly to the people we're supposed to help. And they claim that the data actually backs it up, but the data doesn't back it up. The biggest case is in Stockton, California. They looked, the same group. They couldn't track 40% of the money because it was given out as cash, or was basically converted to cash from a debit card. So they couldn't actually trace it. But more importantly, the people who are analyzing all of the data are the ones who want this to be an actual policy. So they're not exactly a group that you can trust to give objective overviews. In the case of Palm Springs, I mean, this is legally dubious, to say the least. Number one, you're clearly discriminating against people who are not, in fact, transgender. I don't know how you prove that you're non-binary, which basically means you don't have a gender. So I'd be curious to find out how they do the applications in that case. But I mean, we've seen some of these schemes across the country too. Actually, in Tacoma, they were looking to do it on the basis of race, but that was not done through government funding. In California, it would be through government funding.
All right, Jason Rantz, we hear you. Thank you very much indeed, Jason. See you again soon.
Thanks, Stuart.
There is one state